Got some heavy stuff to talk about, man. The Bills absolutely beat the brakes off of the Miami Dolphins. We can talk about the football game and Josh Allen and all of that stuff later on. The story, of course, is Tua Tagovailoa, who left the game after suffering another scary concussion. You had the moment with Mike McDaniels as he was walking off the floor, or excuse me, walking off the court, and um, it's tough, man. Everybody has an opinion. It's the thing about football that you hate the most, right? It's the thing about football that we all hate the most. And everybody has advice and everybody is offering their opinion at what Tua Tagovailoa should do with his life and his career. And I'm sure it's all meant with well intended thoughts. I don't watch that stuff in the morning. I did see Elle Duncan was on with First Take, so I regretted not seeing that because I know how great she is. But I think it's really important that through this conversation, and Jesse, we might just have to roll for a little bit here. I think it's really important through this conversation about Tua Tagovailoa that we remember the Miami Dolphins are 100% at fault for this. Everybody remembers that very scary moment on Thursday Night Football when he got hit and what we now know is called a fencing response, and the NFL world collectively watched in horror. Please do not forget that it was the Miami Dolphins who saw that man get concussed 6 days prior, did not put him through protocol because there was no chance he could clear in time. You can't clear for a concussion on Sunday for a game on Thursday. The mathematics that the NFL has put in place does not allow that to happen. It is impossible. It's mathematically impossible. And the Miami Dolphins determined on that Sunday when we all saw what we saw, that he was going to be fine to play Thursday. They would not rule him out. They did not put him in concussion protocol, and they allowed that moment that everybody is referencing on Thursday Night Football to happen. This is on the shoulders of the Miami Dolphins. I'm not blaming Mike McDaniels. He wasn't a part of that team. I'm not even blaming a coach. I'm not blaming teammates. I'm not blaming anybody. The system in the NFL is flawed. And there is no greater example in its failure than Tua Tagovailoa. What happened last night was terrifying. It's terrifying every time it happens to a player, whether it's their first concussion or their third. But what we saw last night and what we are talking about with Tua Tagovailoa starts with the disservice that the Miami Dolphins did to him. It starts with the disservice that the NFL did because the NFL allowed Miami to go through with this. The NFL wants us to believe that there's all these independent people on the sidelines that have nothing to do with teams and nothing to do with nothing, and they're just good Samaritan doctors pointing people out and saying, hey, watch the guy, get him out, get him out, get him out. They want us to believe that that's true. Unless there's a game Thursday. If there's a big-time game on Thursday, because we know that's a money-making moment for the NFL, he's okay? Oh, okay, let him go. No, he just got his bell rung. No, it's fine. Let him go. What we saw yesterday was awful. It's terrifying, and the thought that this young man's career might be over is bad. It's just awful. I can't come up with a better word than awful. I keep saying awful because that's what it is. The NFL and the Miami Dolphins are at fault for what happened yesterday. They are at fault for this conversation regarding Tua Tagovailoa. They are at fault for what happened 2 years ago that ignited everything we're talking about today. The system of evaluating concussions in that league is purposely flawed.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, so I don't want to create an argument or anything like that. But if that's the case, then what you're saying is they should ban him from playing football.
What I'm saying
Because if
regarding
anything happens after this, they're letting him play.
So
after seeing what, so they're at fault if anything happens after this.
Let's be clear of what we're talking about, though. If doctors not associated with the Miami Dolphins and not associated with the National Football League say he can play, he's at no greater risk than Damian Barling or Kenny Caraway. Then that's one thing. That's not my issue. we're putting together two separate subjects here. He got concussed on a Sunday. We all saw it. We're not stupid. They allowed him to play a couple of days later because that's the disservice. What you do now doesn't make up for what you did then. What you did Sunday resulted in what we saw that Thursday. And now everybody has this great concern because of what we saw 2 years later. Oh, now he's prone to concussions. He's prone to concussions because the NFL allowed him to be. And whoever helps Tua Tagovailoa in this decision-making process can't be paid, associated, or affiliated with that dirty-ass sports franchise. That franchise has bills to pay to Amazon Prime on Thursday nights, Monday nights to ESPN and ABC and Walt Disney, Mickey Mouse. They've got bills to pay to NBC and CBS and all of these networks every Sunday, every Monday, every Thursday, every so on. YouTube. Their interest is not Tua Tagovailoa's quality of life when his career is over.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm not gonna argue with you about any of that. I mean, Tua, I believe, has to make a real decision. I don't know. Did you see the clip of Manti Te'o on Good Morning Football? I think he's
No.
on. I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy because I don't know the relation, but they've got connections. They got family connections, and it's you see that. You see somebody that knows Tua, that knows that family, and talk about what it feels like to see him on the ground like that. That's tough. That's tough, man. And like I told James, I'm not in the business of trying to tell people what they should do with their life and their passion. And I'm not gonna start with Tua, but I know that the likelihood of a concussion isn't gonna go down at this point. It's gonna go up, when you play. And from everything that I understand and I know, the brain isn't like your knee or your ankle. It doesn't work itself back up to 100%. Those are the things that I know. Like what the concussion situation and being prone to concussions, it only gets worse. It only gets worse, and it doesn't necessarily heal like that, right? Like you tear your ACL, they go in there and they fix it, and it's healed, right? It may not ever feel like the same, but it's healed. Like it's good. They put rods and broken legs, and the bone heals, and all this other stuff. The brain, from everything that I've learned and read, it doesn't heal like that. It just doesn't heal. Like, it just doesn't get better over time or with rest or anything else like that, or get to the point where, you know, you've had 5, 6 weeks off and now you can absorb or sustain a blow to the head. That's not how that works. So I I got a feeling like this isn't his last time playing football. If he was my family, I would advise him to get away, because it's only gonna get worse if you keep playing, in my opinion.
Well, but that's the problem. Like, it's only going to get worse if you keep playing. Can't be an opinion. It has to be stated as fact to him from someone who knows.
Mhm.
Tua, if you continue to play, this will get worse, and the end result could be death.
Mhm.
That has to be explicitly explained to him, because
Real quick, the only way I say, in my opinion, is because we don't know if he's gonna take another blow to the head like that. Like, we don't know.
but that doesn't matter. Like,
It could.
it's yeah, the
Yeah.
risk, the risk is what needs to be explained to him.
Mhm.
And if it's Tua, you could get a concussion along the same grade. I don't know if that's a thing, but same grade concussion.
Mhm.
You could get a significantly worse concussion. All your concussions, though, are going to be graded separately. They don't all lump together.
Mhm.
Or Tua, one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other. One, you're scarred, you're damaged,
Mhm.
and it's only going to heal to a certain degree. Two, you're scarred, it's damaged. Now that's piling onto the one you just got. Three, It's piling on to the 2 you already got. These are things that I don't know. This is not what I went to school for. The people who did, though, who aren't associated with the NFL or the Miami Dolphins, need to be able to explain that to them one way or the other. If Tua continues to play because doctors say he can continue to play, so be it. But and we can the family dynamic is entirely different because Tua has to, you mentioned Manti Te'o and the connection that they have. He has to rationalize with his family. He has to rationalize now with his kids. This doctor says I can play. Maybe better stated, these doctors say I can play. Mm-hmm. These doctors say I'm not at a greater risk of severe injury than I was before. Mm-hmm. My family, though, doesn't want to see me in that position again. On the ground, mm-hmm. face down, not being able to get up, or getting up and stumbling around. Those are multiple different things that he has to rationalize. And again, I'm sure Stephen A, Manti, and L, and everybody who I'm sure Dez and everyone who was tweeting, Mike Freeman, everyone who was tweeting about him last night. It's all well intended. These are decisions, consequences, and life issues that this man has to rationalize moving forward. It's not as simplistic as $200 million. That's not it. It's he has children now. Can he be around for them when this is all over? Can he afford to play 4 more years? Can he afford to play 3 more years? Can he not afford to play another snap? If he plays 4 more years, what does life look like at 50? If he plays 3 more years, what does life look like at 55? These are all discussions that he has to have with people who have to be able to provide him with answers. And I don't know if the impact of concussions long-term hasn't been studied enough, or the impact of concussions within the sport is just ignored. But whether the conversations are ever made public or not, Tua needs to have them. And the truth is, every player in the NFL needs to have these conversations. Because there is no chance that we watch the San Francisco 49ers and Minnesota Vikings this weekend, or there's no chance that we watch the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders or any other game and watch 22 plus guys hit each other like that for 60 minutes and walk off the court perfectly intact, walk off the field perfectly intact. Mm-hmm. That's not realistic. Whether they're diagnosed or not, that's not realistic. These players need to have conversations with doctors. That's why Andrew Luck retiring in his 30 when he started. Salute. Do that. Aaron Donald was what, 31, 2? Mm-hmm. Salute. Patrick Willis, do it. The more guys that retire at the age of 30 instead of taking these meetings until 36, 37, the better.
I absolutely agree. The only thing that I'll say a little bit is, that I think everybody looks at like, oh, you got enough money, you got your family you got to look out for, and you want to be with them, and they're all correct. Like they're all correct. That's the way that I feel. That's what everybody feels. But I also don't want to discount like guys like Tua. They love playing football. They love playing football. All they've ever wanted to do since they were little boys or play football. In my case, play basketball, all this other stuff. They love that. And we're going to have to, like, when you have those conversations, be like, I know it's tough. Like, because I think everybody's looking like they're just playing, not everybody. A lot of people, they're just playing for the money. Make sure the money's good and then get up out of there. Now, some of these guys just love playing football. They just love the sport. They love whatever. And it's a different sport or whatever the case may be. But I didn't make it to the pros. And I can't stop playing basketball. I can't stop going to work out and getting up 350 shots like I got a game on Tuesday. I ain't got nothing going on. But I love it. I love it. I've always loved it since I was a little boy, and I can't stop. I can't stop playing. And I don't know if Tua or some of these other guys we talk about feel that way about football. We talk about it all the time. Yeah, they are wired a little different. Not only are they wired different in a competitive sense, they're wired different in that they love that game. So the way we think about it, like, just walk away. That hurts for some people.
Mhm.
That hurts to say, I can never play football again. And in some cases, that's something they never get over. They get depressed. They get whatever the case may be. Now, thinking about it on the outside, and I don't want to say rational, but just outside, we say, hey, you can be like your body is going to get irreversible damage. Your mind is going to get irreversible damage that you're going to wish somebody told you when you were 26 years old, just step away. And you're going to wish you would have listened to them or whatever the case may be. But I don't want to lose sight of the fact of it's not easy for somebody to say, like, you can never do something that you love to death ever again. It's just not easy. And looking at Tua and Tua, who seems to love the game. I mean, when he got that injury, this ain't even a concussion. When he got that injury at Alabama, I would have walked away.
Mm.
Yeah, like my leg did what? Like what? Nah, I don't need this no more. Got right back up, right back out there, taking hits, all this other stuff. Obviously, he loves football, and I'm sensitive and understanding to the point of telling somebody you'll never be able to do this again. You're finished. Once again, I'd advise him not to play no more. That's how I feel. But you know, it's it's a little easier for us to say that as opposed to the person who's going through it.
I'm not giving that man any sort of advice. Past, listen to the people around you and listen to the medical professionals. That's the only advice I can give him. If he was my dude, nah, I would not like for him to be out there. But I wouldn't have wanted him to go pro after the Alabama hit.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been furious at what happened 2 years ago, but that's not my call. In the end, whether I like it or not, or anyone else likes it or not, it's his call.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is going to come down to the NFL not allowing him to play. I don't think they have the balls to do that.
And I don't think this is the end of Tua. I think he'll play again, and that's scary as hell.
If he's not medically retired, then they're not on the hook for $124 million. If he is medically retired, then they do have to pay him that. So basically, he loses out on that money if he's not medically retired and he's cleared.
And here's
I'll be honest. I don't think that has anything to do with anything.
I don't know about that. And this is the dirty game of the NFL. There is a world where their doctors say, no, you're physically fit to play. If you want to retire, that's on your own accord.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But that opens the NFL to the biggest lawsuit that they've ever faced. Because if I have another doctor that says, no, you're not, the damage that does to the NFL might be irreparable.
I understand.
That's why I say this shouldn't even involve Miami doctors or NFL doctors for that very reason. They do.
How do you? I guess you just go on whatever doctor. I'm answering my question, but like, how do you say that? Yes, he medically has to retire without and check that out without going through.
No,
your thing. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. So they don't perform the first evaluation. He meets with whatever specialist his people find. They meet with the NFL or Miami. I'm sure a collection of both,
right, and
go through there, and then eventually Tua will have to go through those doctors. I don't think he goes through them first. For the reasons that you just laid out.
That makes sense.